joining meetings, facilitating meetings, like literally had no life, right? So I've been thinking about it, and I've been pushing it like, oh, okay, I'm gonna find a class, I'm gonna start a class, I'm gonna start, but to find a class to start because I didn't have the time. So after losing my job, I was just like, well, maybe this is just the time, right? Um, because it was two things. I could either go back to searching for a job in the field that I know, which is the technical program management, or I'm just gonna take my time for these next 2, 3 months, go take a class and just build myself up. And I had a friend that I worked with at Microsoft. Then he introduced me to Lincoln and his class. So I reached out, joined the class. I had no prior experience in security. I had no background whatsoever. The only background I had was in IT because I had, my undergrad was in computer science and my master's was in information systems. But I had absolutely no clue about security. So with all of that, coming into the class with high hopes, you know, believing that I definitely this is my next path and I'm going to be like whatever it takes, I'm going to give it to it. And I joined Bleks class, took all the classes. I think was it not wait, was it Wednesdays and Saturdays?
I think it was
You know,
days. I think
yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays and
Tu-
stuff.
Thursdays and Saturdays, yes. Sometimes we even have extra classes just to catch up, you know, and it gives us quizzes, it gives us take home projects. I've never finished my project except from the last class. you know, but a lot of all those materials and everything really, really helped me a lot. I'm never gonna lie. And and one thing I also did again was when it comes to job applications, I got introduced to this company. It's like an Indian company. You pay them, and pretty much what they do is they help you um, apply to jobs, right? They have different packages. So, if you're a busy person or, if application or applying, maybe if you currently have a job and you don't have the time or you have something you're doing, you can also leverage this company. You pay them a stipend, they help you with your resume, your LinkedIn, everything, and they start helping you apply to jobs. You tell them what kind of job you want, security and everything. So they build a cybersecurity resume for you and start apply like they can apply to 100 jobs in a day for you. So that also kind of helped with getting interviews and with also prepping. Like anytime I had interviews, I'll call Bleks Alpha, I have this interview. We set up Zoom meeting, we walk through all of the requirements, the job requirements, and everything, line by line. Every every technical skill they're looking for, we quickly do a quick revision on it. If they're looking for someone who is AWS, whatever we've learned in the Azure is transferable. Everything is pretty much the same thing. It's just terminologies that are different, right? If they want someone who vulnerability management, we could do a quick recap, practice and everything to get ready for the interviews. Even recently, I mean, so anyway, recently I got a job with a company, and the whole total package for the job was over 200,000 a year. The sign on the base salary alone was like $185,000. Uh, they had sign on bonus, they had stock options. Everything was too like with the stock options and everything. Total package was in the mid 200s. You know, and this is me coming from a background. I had no prior knowledge in security or anything like that. So and I just want to say like this class really, really, really helped me, and I can't be any more thankful. Like I'm thankful. Like I made that decision to join this Blexis class, and even as I'm doing the job because I'm not perfect, right? I've started the job. Anytime I need help or anything, I just contact Blex. Hey, they're asking me to do this. What do I do? Or how do I go about this? He's always there to help and guide me and put me in the right directions and everything. And so far so good. Everything has been going good. Nobody at my job has to know that uh, I I had no prior experience. Of course, you don't want to go and tell them that. They look at me as if I'm one guru with 10 years of experience in cybersecurity. They don't know that Bleks is my backup.
God is your backup.
Yes, so God and Bleks is my backup. If they ask me any question, I'll text you immediately. How far they're asking this, or what's the way forward? What's it? And again, also, I mean, and as soon as once you get started, you start getting used to it, especially, and these things are kind of like something that is routine, right? They won't tell you, unlike other fields like project management or program management, where what you do every day is not the same thing. Majority of these things are repetitive. You are using tools. If you're in the cloud space, or maybe cloud engineer, security engineer, a lot of you might not even have to write scripts from the scratch, because some of these scripts are already there in the repository. You just go and copy, change the parameters, and even if you have to write script, there's ChatGPT. You know, there's
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Like a lot of the things I've been doing lately. Part of the first project that I got when I was on the job is they said, okay, they want to change their vulnerability management tool, right? That is my job. Let me go and figure it out. You know, First thing I did was call Bleks. We brainstormed, how do we go about this, and from there I just went on ChatGPT, started looking like I've never used one vulnerability in my life. Do you get? So a lot of these things too, they are online. ChatGPT is helpful. You
Mm.
know, go online, browse it. We give you different vulnerability tool that's there to rank them, what this one is good at, what this one is good at. And as I'm, getting all those things, as I'm sending it to my manager and everybody, they are like, oh wow, this is really good. This is really good. So and once you start the job and everything, like everything becomes it's something you are doing over and over and over again, right? You go on Microsoft Defender, you are looking for I think when I joined the class, people were, I think scanning traffic or something, IP traffic or something, right? If you are doing
Yeah.
these things are just tools. When you launch the tool, by the time you work on it for a month or something, you already know where everything is. You don't even like you'll be able to teach another person. Do you
Sure.
get? So they are repetitive. The things you look at every day, you work with the same tool every day. You open the tool, you know what you are looking for in the tool and everything. And the way these things work is, the reason why I also like this kind of job is because when they give you a task, there's no manager looking over your shoulder and saying like, "Oh, let me see what you are doing." Especially if your work is remote, they just say, "Femi, go and do this," or "Bleks, go and do this," right? How you do it, nobody is looking at you, the process of how you are doing it, or if you are calling somebody to go and do it. What they just need to do is you've gotten it done. In how many? If they say, "Okay, we need this done by Friday," do you get? Just figure out how to go get it done. Whether you go online, like, oh, how do I start launching Microsoft Defender, or how do I go into Azure Portal to start, setting up MFA, or PIM, or setting up PIM and things like that. You get, these are things that they just say, okay, yeah, I'll figure it. I'll go do it. Right? If you don't know, call Bleks or go online. A lot of videos, a lot of materials are there that will guide you step by step. Even ChatGPT, you say, how do I set up MFA in Azure Portal? ChatGPT will give you step by step. Click here, go here, do this, do everything step by step. If you're not confused, call Bleks. This is what I'm doing, or something. He will put you through. So, this is not hard. Just put your mind to it and believe you're going to get something out of it, and it's going to happen. Another important part is the interviewing, right? Prepping for interview is also another thing. And just one tip I'll throw out there is there are a lot of AI tools out there right now that you can leverage for interviews as well, right? But I also advise you to prepare, because sometimes those AI tools in midway they might have some glitches,
My break.
and yes, they might have some glitches and you'll be forced to answer with your head. So there's adequate preparation, knowing a lot, especially before you go to an interview, try and practice everything they are, try and like revise and learn everything they have on the job requirement and job description, right? Every skill they're looking for, try and like get familiar with it and everything, But as far as those tools are concerned, I think I've spoken to Bleks about it before. This sounds like something else you can also leverage to help with interviews as well. So I don't know if you have any questions, any comments. I'll be happy to answer.
Please feel free. Mic is open. Ask your questions.
Well,
Oh,
thank
how
you.
many how many years of experience did you put on your resume?
So what I did was because I had 10 years of experience,
Mm-hmm.
but not in security. I had 10 years of experience in project and program management. So what I just did was those companies that I've worked for,
Mm-hmm.
I just did my resume to say I was like a cloud security engineer or cloud security analyst or, just made it security. So that way, when they want to do background check or something, they're not going to go and ask them, what did this person do? They just want to know if you
Right,
work there,
right.
right? So that really came in handy. And secondly, if you don't have all those experience, this Indian company that I told you about, that they're going to help you apply, one of the packages they have also is when they help you build your resume, they can put do any company on your resume. Don't be shocked. They can put that you've worked in Google and everything. But when that time comes to do background check, they are the ones that are going to help you verify it. Like they have that this thing. So the way they do it is they'll claim that you were a consultant there,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you worked for their company as a consultant at, say, for example, Microsoft. So they might put Microsoft on your resume that you've been a security engineer at Microsoft, right? So on your
Right,
resume to say Microsoft. But when the background check time comes, you just give them the name of their company, which is a consulting company.
yeah,
And of course, if you've done contract jobs before and everything, usually you represent those companies, but you work with different companies.
yeah.
So that's the way they do it. So even if
don't they ask you for pay stubs?
No, no.
the,
So
the
let me.
company will, even if they ask you, the company will provide everything.
Yeah.
Okay, can you please put the name in the chat?
So it depends
Yeah,
on. Hold on. So it depends on who you are, who is giving you that offer. So
Right,
yeah,
companies, what they care most about is criminal background.
right.
So if you are able to scale
yep,
the criminal background check, if you're able to scale
Mm-hmm.
down, they're not probing any further. In fact, they don't call. They won't call your employer, former employer. Once you
yeah.
clear the criminal background, they don't call anybody again. Of course, they will collect the
Mm,
information, but they won't call.
okay. Can you
But
please put the name of the company in the chat for me, please?
Okay. So they are
Also,
called. So
Clara,
they're on WhatsApp. You have to reach out to them on WhatsApp. I've sent a
Yo.
picture because it's an Indian company.
Okay.
So just the picture I sent. Just contact them on WhatsApp. Tell them from Femi.
Yo, thank you.
Referred you. So
mm,
another thing again is they'll send you their package. They'll tell you they have different packages, 750, 1.5. Like they'll tell you what kind of packages they have. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I think sometimes if you let me see if I can also send that. Hold on a second. I think I have that as well. So all I'm just trying to say is you can also still negotiate whatever however much they tell you.
Okay.
Right? So hold on, let me find it and send it to you.
yeah,
so
while you find it, Clara, if you apply for any job and they ask for your pay stub, it's kind of against the law, but just keep them. Not everybody will ask you for that.
well, it depends.
Okay.
So if so, the only reason why they might ask for pay stub is if they've been calling the contact to the left in
Yeah, yeah.
your
Or they're not able to verify.
so this person is not picking up, it's not responding. Okay, they'll say, okay, Shibi, you say you work there, so just want to confirm that you work there. Okay, give us something to show that you work there. And before you even get to that point, some environments even specify that you don't necessarily need to give us the company you work for. Give us the name of the company that was paying your salary. So the name of the company that was paying your salary, that's what we want. Not necessarily that you work with Google. You might be working with Google, but you were outsourced by Robert Half. You were outsourced by Inside Global. So if you are going to fill your background check form, it's going to be Inside Global. It's going to be Robert Half, not Google.
Yeah.
Because that's the person that is paying your salary. You get it now?
Right.
So anybody can claim that you work for them. So your own concern would be the person must pick his phone the first time they call. Maybe sometimes they might call back a second time, but he must pick the phone. So if they call like 1 week and the person is not pick, they will move on. So the company can now come back and say, okay, prove that you work there, give us your pay stub. That's where things begin to become shaky.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've sent pictures of their contact and what their package looks like.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think for me, I went with the gold package, but I don't require OPT extension, so they have different packages. When you talk to them, they'll give you an overview of everything. And but that's 750, you can negotiate it. I've seen people who negotiated 500, 450, 400, even 350. Just depend on your negotiation skills.
Joe, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Don't go and be looking for them. Use your hand to apply. Use these people. Don't go and be looking. Thank you so much.
I was trying to get it for me and my husband. Yeah, I'm a good wife.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Femi, maybe one question is, when you were preparing for these interviews, what skills or like topics were coming up in those interviews?
So I told them so they were asked, so when you're talking to, so when these people were applying for me, so I told them so they did my resume in such a way that I could apply for cloud security engineer, cloud administrator, cloud engineer, and cybersecurity engineer. So they were applying for all those jobs. So pretty much for any interview that I have, if it's a cybersecurity engineer, I just look at the job description, because cybersecurity engineers vary. Sometimes that's just the title. They might just need someone who's a pen tester, or they might need someone who is going to come and do perimeter security, or someone who's just going to come and do vulnerability scanning and all those kind of things. So whatever they put in the job descriptions is just how I prepare. So I've had interviews where they wanted someone with Terraform scripting experience, and someone who just come and help them start writing Terraform scripts. And I've had experience. I've had interviews where they need someone who just come and be scanning, using tools and be scanning and be doing vulnerability scanning and all those things. I've had some that they need an actual security architect. Right? It's a green land. They don't have anything, and they're just building from scratch, and they need you to come and help them think about how, like, they are fresh in the cloud. So they need someone with cloud experience that can help them set up their cloud from the scratch and building all their security and everything into it. So it just depends on, the kind of roles you apply to and everything. But mostly, the interviews I've been getting are more cloud security engineering. And even this one that I'm currently working now, because I'm still applying, I'm still interviewing, right? But this one I'm currently working now, it was a cybersecurity engineer, and they just needed someone who will be in charge of, like, data loss prevention and vulnerability management and everything. And the reason why they even chose me is because they wanted to leverage my skill for their cloud as well, because my resume was more on the cloud side. But it kind of felt like if you've been doing security for about 10 years, you can feel a cybersecurity engineer role, and they will still leverage you. So they're just pretty much bringing me to come and do two different roles, both the cybersecurity engineer role and also like a cloud role. So, Yeah, I think every interview will be different. It just pretty much depends on what you apply for.
Okay. I guess, are there core things that we should be, I guess practicing or focusing on now, and then, obviously, as you said, you adjust for those interviews.
I think what you should be practicing, what you should be focusing more on, like the concept, like the key concepts of like Azure security, right? There'll be more questions about IAM, identity access management, what you've done there and how you set up like security policies, things like that, like, how you use Purview or Sentinel, or, how you've secured cloud infrastructure, right? So a lot of all those things still borders around how you use, you know, identity access management, Entra ID, how you use um, multi-factor authentication, PIM, so just having those basic understanding of what everything does, right? And also like, and if you're going into those interviews, have like 2 to 3 different scenarios of how you've used one particular one particular security concept, right? If they want to talk about, for example, identity access management, have like 2 scenarios minimum of how you've used it in like probably in your current company or in your previous company. So when they're asking you, oh, tell us about a time or about a project or where you can easily talk about, yeah, when I was with Accenture, we had this client, they were trying to like migrate into cloud and set up their cloud. And part of your job was to help set up identity. Just having that story ready, you
Mhm.
know. So that's really, really, really helpful. And trust me, ChatGPT can help you with all of that as well. ChatGPT can help you.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mr. Sam, you have not spoken.
I'm learning.
Learn.
I'm gaining. Actually, one of the areas you spoke about that caught my attention is the on-the-job support given by Bleks.
Uh-huh.
Someone going to, yeah, someone going to that field and, you know, having some backup to be able to
Yeah.
navigate the system when you're there. So I'm impressed by that. I was waiting for that and you said it. So that's
Oh,
good.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Clara, engineer.
So Clarence,
Hmm?
I said Clarence, do we have like a lot of the cloud jobs based off of Clarence? And what type of Clarence?
Clarence. You are looking for Clarence with all this wala. Forget about that one right now. Well, you can. Government contractors.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing is my current job too, like, I mean, they don't require security clearance,
Mm.
but they can file for security clearance for me. So that's one thing I'm actually wanting them to do for me now. So at least it will give me more opportunities. You
Because if they
know.
put me on polygraph,
It's not all clearance job they put you on polygraph.
I know I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
Tell you now, this one is with poly.
Right. No, I was just messing with him.
So
Anyway, thank you. That's been very helpful. And
Oh yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
real though. It's real. That's 185K. He has collected his 4 paycheck, so it's real.
Hmm.
Oh,
Maybe
I think I sent you the screenshot of the offer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, feel free to share with them so they can even see what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
shared.
it's 100% remote.
Oh yeah, 100% remote.
maybe
He's
how is the job market? Finding
Actually,
finding remote jobs, like
Okay.
how.
Forget job market. You are is a bull market, bullish
Yeah,
market. Forget
yeah,
about others. It's you. It's focus on you. Forget. See, you can wake up tomorrow and they say, "Oh, in March, 1 million job losses." Forget. It doesn't concern you. The jobs are there. That's your motivation.
exactly. No, the jobs are actually there. Like,
This is Azure. This is not AWS. If it's AWS now, you can be worried. They want people Azure backgrounds. They are bringing
no.
AWS into Azure backgrounds. They want.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the job, like even on my LinkedIn, like people that are reaching out to me on LinkedIn, like I can send you a screenshot of what my LinkedIn looks like. People that are reaching out, like I'm the one turning them down. Some will tell you, "Oh, can you do hybrid? Do just one day in office." And I'm the one that is doing shakara, like, no, 100% remote or not. I won't start telling them like my salary is minimum 160. They'll be telling you, "Oh, we can do." So the job is there. I'm never going to lie. The job is there. You know, the job is really there. Like I know how many interviews I've done over the last 2 months, last 2, 3 months. What are we in? I started applying in like January, and the interviews I've done. You know, at first, what I started with was, I started taking any interviews because even the on-site, because I knew I couldn't do on-site, right? But so there were some jobs I know that even if they give me the offer, I can't do it because they were out of state. But I was using those interviews to build my confidence, to
You're
get
right.
familiar with the kind of questions they're asking. So there
Mm.
was a job they were telling me. I actually almost got the job. It was in Florida, but I mean I live in Atlanta. They wanted 2 days on site or something. I knew from the very onset I couldn't go to Florida. They told me from the beginning of the call, this job you have to be in Florida. Should we move ahead? I said yes. But just because of the learning curve I wanted to have, I
Right.
went through all the interview processes. I did very well. When we now got to the final stage, and I told the I told the recruiter that, see, I was trying to see if I could play games with them. I told them, see, I just got another offer and they're offering me remote. So the only way I'm going to take this job, because the guy was already telling me like, oh, I'm the best candidate, I'm doing well and everything. And I told him like the only way I'm going to take this job is if they're going to offer me full remote. And the guy was like, oh wow, I should have told him that. Well, okay, let him see what he's going to go and do. We'll try and talk to the manager because I'm the best candidate they've spoken to so far and everything. The manager came, said the least he could do is 1 day in office. That if that they actually need someone around that would live at least within 15 miles of the office, just in case they need, there's emergencies, because I think they have hybrid cloud, so they have some on-prem, and so they need someone that will be in the vicinity. But of course, my family and I just moved to Atlanta. We just bought the house and everything. It was impossible for me to leave. I just had to let it go. Like, I just knew, okay, it's not mine. My mine is going to come in the future, And there were some that, you know, from just after the first interviews, they never called me back because I messed up. you know, but it's all just learning curve and everything. And
Yeah.
as soon as I started, getting a very good idea and a hang of all the questions they're asking, I record every interview that I had. I was sending them to Bleks now. I recorded everything. I would go back and listen again. The ones that I messed up, I'll go back and research, like, okay, what's the answer? Just to get myself familiar with, and those questions just still kept, they kept coming up, right? So that was another way I kind of prepared too. Like I never said no to any interview. I will still go and do the interview. I will still go and do the interview. Even if I know I'm not going to take it. Even if it's not, there are some interviews that I called Bleks. This one passed my power. they wanted the one that they wanted like a security architect. I'm like, me, I'm just an engineer. And an architect, you have to build your own system
From
from scratch
scratch.
and everything. Bleks was like, don't worry, you can do it. We'll be here, we'll support you, everything. I was like, so Bleks is pushing me like this. Well, guess what? I did it. I went to first stage, second stage, third stage, but eventually they didn't pick me. But at least the knowledge I gained from actually, talking to them, answering those questions and everything, like, even getting to prepare for like a cloud architect, security architect role, you know. Now imagine that telling me to come and do a cloud security analyst when I already prepared for cloud architect. The knowledge I've gathered alone, like by the time you even start asking you questions, some of the things you've read, when you start going deep and deep and deep, based off of the things you've read and studied and everything, they'll feel like, oh. And I think that was actually what even helped me with my current job that I have, because as I was interviewing and everything, I kept going deep and deep and deep based off of everything I've learned and everything. And they were like, oh wow, you know, because initially, as the interview was now progressing, and I noticed they were starting to ask me different questions about things that were not even in the job description. And I asked them that, wait, hold on, is this role not a cloud security role? Is it starting to change? They're like, well, you have to, there's two sides to the job and everything. I just had a feeling like, okay, this one just wants to, use one stone and kill two birds and everything. But of course, I didn't mind because I didn't have a job at the time. So, and so far so good. It's been good. And one thing that I love so much about this job is the time I have on my hands. Like, I can take my son to school, come back, pick him up during the day. I have time to do other things. Like, I literally throughout this week I have no meetings at all. At all. Like, I don't have to join any meeting. All I'm just doing is sitting in front of my computer, reviewing, going through, and literally the first hour of the day and like the last hour of the day is when I go into, maybe once during the day, you know, I'm done with what I need to do. I'm just there waiting for the week to end to write my report and send to my manager. This is what I've done this week. Like the job is so chill. I'm sure there are going to be days that it's going to be, maybe when there's an incident and everybody has to scramble and everything. But so far, nah, I was. It felt like I've wasted the last 10 years of my career doing programming. I mean, it's not a waste, but I just wish I'd pivoted earlier than this and everything, you know. And with this job, I feel like I can do three of this job at the same time, because literally today I had my personal laptop. I was watching soccer, Real Madrid, Arsenal, while I was at work. You know, like the work-life balance, everything is there. I'm not in meetings every day. I don't have to, because my previous job, while I was a technical program manager, if I'm not in meetings, I'm spending my time doing slides or writing documents or preparing for the next meeting and everything, talking to, it was just a lot. But with this one is chill. I'm not going to lie. Like the work-life balance, everything is there. So
So
that's
I
just
guess,
what I'm gonna say.
what do you actually do? I guess like, is it because you're using the same tools, you've just mastered the tool, and that's why you're able to, spend little time?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I've mastered the tool, the things like even as a cloud security engineer, right? It's not every day you're going to be deploying resources. Or it's not every day, it's not every day you're going to be there might be time when there's a project, say, okay, they're expanding, they are deploying resources, and they need you to go and, create some firewall or, secured, or just do something, right?
Yeah.
After you get all those things done, it's not something you do every day,
Okay.
right? You're probably just monitoring traffic or, checking to make sure everything not nobody has broken or nobody has put flash drive on their computer or nobody has tried to, because that's kind of one of part of my job also. Every day I have like you know things that I run on Microsoft Defender to look at, like, for example, the one of the first job that I had was an employee was leaving the company and he was going to a competitor company, right? So they wanted me to do like an audit of what the guy has been doing over the last 2 weeks, making sure he's not copying any, sensitive files that is taken to the competitor, making sure, like I was literally looking through his emails, like what his people he has emailed, people and everything just on the tool. Like, you know, I just Google like I prior to that I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to do it. Like literally, I did not know how to do it. But I just figured it out. I think I called Bleks too, you know. And I just went online. It's like, how do you do this? How do you do? And I went on Microsoft Defender. I was looking at everything, and I was able to download the CSV file, see what he has done, see, has he put flash drive, is what time of the day has he been logging in? Does he log in late night? Like, anything that might raise suspicions, like, where has he been logging in? What location? Like, is there anything unusual? You know, and I was able to create a report, went on ChatGPT, write a report for me to say this. ChatGPT wrote a report, I edited it, put everything, and I sent them a Word document to say, hey, this is a report of the investigation that I did. And they were even proud, like, oh, wow, thank you for even putting it in to document it. I guess prior, maybe, well, I think that's where my program management skill also came in as well, because, I guess in their field, when they tell you to do something,
You just
they
do
just ping,
check. You
yeah,
just push it.
verbally, yeah, I've done it, nothing. For me, I
Yeah.
was able to like put everything I did step by step, put it in a document, sent it to them, and they were like, one of the things I also did again, they were like, because it's like a startup company, so they didn't, so they were onboarding softwares, right? And the new VP that they hired was like, oh, there's no even process of vetting softwares that people are just installing and buying and everything. We need to have a process for that. And I just, and it was like, Femi, can you take that responsibility? What do I know about security vetting of software? I just went on ChatGPT. What do you, because the company is a government contracting company, I was like, okay, I need to create a vendor questionnaire for, you know, for vetting softwares and everything. I'm a government employee. What are the necessary questions that should go in the questionnaire? And ChatGPT gave me like 50 something questions that everybody needs to answer. And when I came up with it, they were like, oh, wow, this is good. Thank you for bringing up this process. You know, and now anytime any employee wants to, use any software, because of course they can't automatically download any software, they have to come through us. And now if they want to buy the software or pay for the subscription, I tell them, hey, go and fill out this form. Once they fill out the form, to ask them a series of questions. Based off of those questions, I'm able to tell, like, okay, is this software okay or not? And I just tell them, yeah, okay, no problem. Like today, someone returned the questionnaire and I looked at it and everything. They have everything in place, the frameworks they're using, how they're securing their software, how they are, applying patches, preventing vulnerabilities. Because pretty much the job is supposed to also shield us such that if any software we're using is not susceptible to attack,
Mhm.
so that any attacker will not use that software to gain access into our own network or our systems. So all those, it was ChatGPT that's helping me. ChatGPT
And
and Lex.
so in
Thank
addition,
God.
can you hear me?
Yes.
So in addition to that, make sure you guys have Defender XDR, right?
Yes.
So you guys should on board, make sure you have access to those apps on Defender XDR. Track their progress, track compliance. Now, Defender XDR. So go to Defender for Cloud,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Defender for Cloud apps. So if you guys don't have Defender for Cloud
Okay.
app, they should get a subscription for it. So all those applications, go and activate them there and track anything that changes. There's vulnerability, everything, you find it. So it's not just filling
Okay.
that documentation. There must be real-time tracking of every activity around.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any latest report, you'll be able to pull it from there. If there's frequency of use. You can track frequency of use as well for every user. So
Okay. Does Tenable track that?
I wouldn't know.
Okay, because the vulnerability management tool we're leaning towards is Tenable Nessus. Because yes, yeah. So that's one of the things we're also going to be tracking with that, like all the apps to automatically. So they want something. So the reason why because my manager, when I was doing the requirements gathering, he told me that while Microsoft is good, the only downside with Microsoft vulnerability management, which is XDR, is because the the vulnerabilities that is in the database is not global. It's only what is in the database. But with Nessus, it's it takes into account any vulnerability that is out there. So Microsoft's own is just only what Microsoft knows about. Because there are some other vulnerabilities that has not been in the Microsoft library that they haven't added yet. So if there's a vulnerability that Microsoft does not know about, it won't catch it because it's not in the Microsoft library. But with Tenable Nessus, that's just the advantage. So that's why they want us to go with Tenable Nessus.
With security co-pilot, now that is possible.
Okay.
So with security profile co-pilot is real-time assessment. Yeah, it's like using ChatGPT. So now ChatGPT for cybersecurity.
Okay.
Yeah, security co-pilot is the latest security.
And see, guys, all these things I'm saying that is sounding as if I'm technical. Few months ago, I didn't know any of these things. Few months ago, I didn't know any of these things. It's majority of all these things I'm talking about is on the job. I'm learning them, and just the ability to learn fast and not let it catch up with you, so that they don't know that they're just learning this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you mentioned you practicing the tools
Mhm.
is key, I guess. So you can be a master at it. I guess how can maybe I don't know, like and even you like how can we practice, being a master at the tool before we start applying?
Uh you can just even watch videos. Like there are videos like on YouTube videos about say you want to see Microsoft Defender, for example. There are YouTube videos about it and everything. Any tool you want, the YouTube videos you can watch that will let you. And I didn't watch videos. I'm not even gonna lie, right? It's just what I just started working with, and all the ones we did in Bleks class, because in class too, would go through Azure Portal, would go through all those Defender, would look through all those things. Other than that,
Yeah.
and what we learned in class. But if you want to be proactive with, learning those tools and watching, like, for getting familiar with them, you can check YouTube videos and watch them.
Um, before maybe this is going to be my last question. I know it could be challenging, changing career, going to a new sphere entirely. How were you able to cope in your very first week on the job?
Huh.
You use ChatGPT, you call Bleks. What does it look like
I mean, it's
on the
it's
first week?
it's 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 going to be a different feeling, to be honest. That feeling of like that imposter syndrome feeling like it's just to feel different, right? But you just need to like keep it together. And there's usually like a grace period where when you join a job, they tell you, oh, maybe you have the first 90 days to onboard and everything. You just have to take advantage of those period to catch up fast. And one thing I was also doing is I was setting up meetings with, people to kind of like, hey, like you'd have people that are already using those tools before you know, before I got there, like people that are already using them, I was setting up meetings with them. For example, we had one SOC analyst on the team who, before I joined, he was the one using those tools and everything, you know. So I just kind of like, hey, walk me through your day to day. What do you do and everything, And she shared the screen with me, showed me all the tools they currently use, helped me get set up and helped me like, once I got set up and I have access to those tools, I'll just go in there, play around with it, watch videos about it. And, there were moments where I just like, hey, walk me through your day to day. What's your day to day like? And he started showing me how he was using the tool. And from there, I was just picking it up as well. He was showing me how, hey, this is what I use to check traffic and monitor traffic. This is what I use to check vulnerabilities. This is what I used to check, and all those things. He was showing me those tools, right? And it was helping me get access to those tools as well, So just, leveraging those moments and those opportunities to get familiar with those tools as well as me just, working through them on my own as well. And when you get into those tools too, like when you start clicking around and like you start figuring out like, oh, okay, so this is what this one does. Like it's very, very, I don't want to say straightforward, but when you start seeing different tabs, when you click into it, you see the range of things you can do with it, right? So that's another thing too. I remember when I logged into the Microsoft Defender, like, when I got access to it and everything, you know, at first there were some things I couldn't have access to. And I was wondering, like, why couldn't I have access to these things? I didn't want to ask and sound naive, but I just found a way, like, oh, yeah, why am I not able to access this? And they were like, oh, you have to go and set up your PIN. I was like, oh, okay. Then I started figuring it out, like, how do I set up my PIN? How do I set up my PIN?
Mm.
I Googled everything. Before you know, I went into my Azure portal, do everything, and did it myself. And I started having access to it. Typically, those are the things they will tell you, like, oh, someone does not have access to this and everything, right? That is what you would go and do for them, right? But now I already know how to do it, and I can do it for somebody else too. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
One question I have is about LinkedIn. I hardly use my LinkedIn, but just like you, I have some experience with companies,
Mhm.
and I know some of my colleagues are on there, right, from my
Yeah.
previous job. So let's say you change your job to
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you how I did mine. For me, what I did, I created a totally new LinkedIn. I
oh,
didn't put my
okay,
picture. I didn't put my picture, and I just started following people. The other LinkedIn, I abandoned it. So that if they search you, they won't see the other one. It's the new one they'll be seeing. So that's what I
I
did.
see.
And who cares? They're your former employees. they're not they're not the one paying your salary. They're not the one paying your bills. You have to do what you gotta do, man. They're not going to go and
Exactly.
tell you. So, but I mean, for me, that was just what I did because I still had connections, from the past where, you know,
Yep, that's
we
where I'm
kind of,
coming from.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, that's what I just did. I created a new LinkedIn account, and that was what I've been using to apply for these roles. And I didn't put my picture.
perfect,
So,
perfect, perfect.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you for coming here, for obliging us.